God, look at this buffet. I love America.
The restaurant business is a fickle one. Profits are low, but food waste and cost margins are high. It cuts straight into profits even more with an all-you-can-eat buffet-type restaurant. How do they do it and still make enough money to survive and stay open? Here are some amazing facts on how all-you-can-eat buffets make their money.
Pull up a mouth, this buffet is unstoppable.
Cheap Eats.
Thanks for buying me dinner.
Best $1.49 buffet in town, Clark.
To understand the ins and outs of buffet-style eating, we need to understand its origins. The term buffet comes from the French term meaning sideboard, a piece of furniture that was used to lay out food for quick picking. When visitors would show up without warning, the kitchen staff would gather up whatever food was in the cold room and place it on the sideboard for a quick snack. The all-you-can-eat tagline was invented and popularized in Las Vegas by entertainment manager Herbert Cobb McDonald, who introduced the idea in 1956 at the El Rancho Casino with a Buckaroo buffet. Next thing you knew, everyone loved buffet-style eating.
I love this. I love this.
It was cheap, and you could eat as much as you wanted. For the restaurants, it saved them loads of money on staffing and food costs, and it was also a profitable way to lure customers with cheap eats.
So much delicious food, brother!
Strategic layout.
Organization is the key.
Another way all-you-can-eat buffets make money is by its strategic layout. At the front of the buffet, certain items that are considered fillers or starchy foods are placed first. Dishes which include meat are usually found further down the buffet line. This is done on purpose, so you can fill up on more of the filler items. By the time you reach the end of the line, your plate is already brimming with starchy fillers that will fill you up within 20 minutes into your meal.
Oh, so full, huh?
Since your plate is already pretty full, by the time you reach the meat dishes, you will probably take less. This is no coincidence. This is purposefully done because the meats are more expensive to purchase. Less consumption means more profit for the restaurant. Since their profit on food is already fairly small, they can't turn a big profit on a buffet diner with expensive food items and prime cuts of meat. Fillers can be bought in bulk and used in large quantities at a fraction of the cost, increasing the bottom line.
Pretty sneaky, Jackson!
Seasonal menu changes.
They've made some nice changes to the menu, haven't they?
Most restaurants tend to change their menus based on seasonal produce. This is not only done so you can enjoy a variety of items, but because produce is usually sold at cheaper prices when in season. During summer months, regional local produce is in abundance and is more cost-friendly. You will notice how most restaurant buffets have tons of vegetables and salads in their buffets during the summer months. This is done to maximize on their profits and save on expenses. They also collect data on what customers like eating during seasonal peak periods.
We lead the world in computerized data collection!
They then adjust their menus based on what is popular and how much quantities are required. For example, salads are in higher demand in January, and fish is more popular on weekends. Vegetables are also purchased in bulk for virtually pennies.
I hope it's okay if I pay in pennies.
If not consumed, they are recycled to make soups and casseroles for the next day. So next time you are at a buffet, count the amount of vegetable dishes they actually have. Monitoring food waste like Big Brother.
You're with Big Brother? Okay, go ahead. I got nothing to hide.
There is a whole psychology behind the monitoring of food waste when it comes to the restaurant business, and buffets are no exception. These days, with advanced computer technology, restaurants are able to keep tabs on what their clientele are eating and how much is being consumed.
They're watching us, D. They're always watching us.
They keep tabs on popular dishes, which dishes generate more money, which are more cost-efficient, and which dishes are duds. They are constantly tweaking and customizing their menus to maximize profits and reduce waste. Food waste is also closely monitored. Buffet restaurants try to do their best to estimate just how much food each patron eats. They are always watching. There's still a lot of food that goes into the garbage. Some restaurants have started charging for leftovers to avoid this.
You want any of this leftover pizza? It's got glitter on it!
Small portion sizes.
Where the food is tiny, it looks like regular food but really tiny.
Another way all-you-can-eat buffets make money is by limiting large food intake of expensive items by using portion control. This may not stop you from going to the buffet a few times, but unknowingly they are limiting your portions.
How dare they?
call it a trick, but you may have noticed that the soup bowls, plates, and utensils are usually smaller in size. If you haven't noticed yet, take a closer look next time you're eating at your favorite buffet. This means you are eating half of what you normally eat.
Gonna need more than that.
The size of chafing dishes also plays on your subconscious. They are also smaller in size. If there's only a few pieces of food left in them, we are less inclined to take more, especially if someone is behind us in line. These methods lower costs and increase profits for the restaurant in the long run. Large iced drinks.
This glass has ice cubes in it.
Yes, that's what happens when water gets cold.
Whether it be alcohol, soda, or bottled water, most buffets do not include beverages in the overall cost of the meal. Therefore, the cost of any beverages is added to the sum of the total. While the profit margin on food is around 35% tops for restaurants, for drinks it is as much as 90%. If you're a big drinker,
Which I am.
sometimes the drinks on your tab can cost you almost as much as the meal itself. Also beware, buffet foods are highly salted and full of MSG, which make you extremely thirsty and likely to drink more. Furthermore, sodas in particular are then filled with loads of ice, which also dilutes and reduces the actual amount of soda you are paying for. So you tend to finish up your drink faster and may want to order another.
People who drink need to keep drinking.
Because you are gorging on food, you will also drink more. For those big eaters, that means at least a couple of drinks per sitting, adding anywhere from $5 to $10 to your tab. It's still a good deal, but it's a moneymaker for the restaurants. Some buffets used to include the cost of drinks in their buffet price, but most have since stopped this practice, and for good reason. Well, at least for the restaurant owner. Eliminating cost for staffing.
We're cool, right, Mr. Donaghy? No. You're all fired.
Another way all-you-can-eat buffets make money is by cutting down on overhead expenses. Since buffet food is prepared ahead of time in bulk, there is no need to have the same amount of staff as would be required in a sit-down restaurant. Buffet restaurants basically know how much staff is required during busy periods and will hire accordingly. They are usually led by an executive chef who doesn't necessarily need to be overqualified, since the food prep requires no presentation, just layout. Further savings lie in the amount of waitstaff hired. Because a buffet is self-serve, less waiters and servers are required.
Don't you get it? We don't need you anymore.
They also do not need to have much experience, as interactions with clientele is limited to getting drinks and clearing tables. Less experience means lower wages. Operating a buffet instead of a sit-down-and-order type restaurant also allows for a quicker turnover of tables, since diners aren't waiting for food to arrive. That's important during peak business hours, when lines for tables can turn into lost dollars.
I've been going through our receipts, and we're actually losing money.
Low food quality and recycling.
4 R's, my friend. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Rihanna!
This may not come as a surprise, but another way all-you-can-eat buffets make money is by cutting down on quality and recycling food. Aside from getting good deals from their wholesalers on bulk seasonal produce, they also get deals on chicken, meat, and fish that are also bought on the cheap. The quality is not always prime top of the line. They might use lower grade cuts for the beef in a dish, chicken wings instead of chicken breasts, and bottom of the barrel fish.
Oh, I'm not eating that now. Nope.
The leftovers are also used the next day in soup, casseroles, rice dishes, and prepared salads. They need to have minimal waste in order to turn a profit. The price and cost of the food has been totally factored into their profit margin from the onset. Basically, they charge customers an amount that will cover their basic costs and more. If they don't do this, they will eventually go out of business. Choosing the right menu items and putting out just the right amounts is not easy in a buffet environment. If the executive chef is experienced, he can keep food waste to a minimum by timing replenishments, thus maximizing their profits. Managers are meticulous about their stock keeping. If too much of an item is prepared and sits in a chafing dish all evening, it's money down the drain.
What a waste!
The illusion keeps you coming back.
The illusion is complete. It is reality. The reality is illusion.
They have you as soon as you get in line. Buffets are not an easy profit-making scheme. It takes the right menu, the right balance between cost and quality, and meticulous attention to operational details for these restaurants to succeed. It also takes a keen understanding of the psychology of dining.
Is using psychological warfare. We must reply in kind.
There is a love affair with all-you-can-eat buffets, even though there has been a decline in such restaurants in recent years. For kids, it is the ability to play grown-up and select their own food. With big eaters, it is making sure that they got their money's worth. For some, the buffet is a glamorous idea. It reunites family and friends without any compromises. There is plenty for every taste bud. The joy of eating many different things at the same time is like an aphrodisiac.
It's just so good.
The industry banks on this and knows they have you hooked. You will keep coming back for more. Be wary though. Some buffets are now actually charging more for the big eaters or those that simply excessively indulge. This way, you can't cut into their pocketbooks. Banning.
Are you saying you're banning me from the store?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Buffets do manage to make good money, whether it be with cheap, inexpensive, quality food, less overhead, or whatever methods they are using at the given moment. The fact is, not many people can eat 2 days' worth of protein in one sitting, although there are some who can. There have been people who have been kicked out of buffets for eating too much.
I thought all parts of the buffet were unlimited.
In 2004, a Utah couple following the Atkins diet was asked to leave a chuckarama after going back to the carved roast beef station for the 12th time. In 2014, the restaurant chain Sizzler, which has since eliminated its buffet in many locations, did not use the term all-you-can-eat. Instead, Sizzler used all-you-care-to-eat. Buffets took a real hit during the last recession and were one of the most bankrupted categories in the restaurant business. Buffet owners have caught on and have increased their prices, and many are now charging more per person. If your markup is 33% and you have an average of 200 people, you are still turning a profit.
Well, that's a relief.
Get more bang for your buck by tapping on another one of our great videos. And for new viewers, don't forget to swat that subscribe button and ring that bell to join our notification squad.